Welcome to Donington Park for the first round of the National Superstock 600cc Championship in association with Pirelli. This is a championship that's wide open because many of the leading lights have disappeared and gone to Supersport and Superstock 1000. Aaron Clifford has put his Kawasaki on pole position ahead of Joe Sheldon Shaw and pre-season favourite Ryan Vickers, one of the outstanding riders who's still here from 2017. Milo Ward looking strong in fourth place ahead of Kevin Keyes and Aaron Clark. Seventh place for Grant Newstead ahead of Luke Hopkins and Mark Clayton moving in from Moto 3. Cameron Lee heads up the fourth row from Josh Wood, and Louis Valelli also moving up from the Moto 3 category. So we've got a strong lineup of riders here, and it's intriguing because of the fact that so few of these guys have been here in this championship before, and it's down to them to see what they can do on these 600s. The leading lights like Dan Stamper, the champion from last year, have understandably moved on to Supersport. So this is going to be a really intriguing race. It'll set the bar really for what we might expect from later on during the season. So the Pirelli National Superstock 600 Championship in association with Black Horse, ready to go with number 9. And that is Clark on pole position. So on pole position then, we've got Aaron Clifford on pole, Joe Sheldon Shaw second, Ryan Vickers on that beautiful blue Yamaha with actually who has got backing from Yamaha UK ahead of Milo Ward, Kevin Keyes and Aaron and it hasn't got the guy who's on pole position. I don't know what I've done with my list. So ready to go then with the Superstock 600 Championship race. Aaron Clifford on pole position on bike number 9. Perfect green Kawasaki in a perfect getaway. Ryan Vickers surges through into second place and tries to grab the inside line, but in fact allows the opposition through on the inside, then escapes through Red Gate. And it looks as if Ryan Vickers, a very confident and determined young man, has grabbed the advantage. So the 19-year-old from Thetford in Norfolk leads the way as they plunge downhill towards the old hairpin. Aaron Clifford squeezed back by Kevin Keyes and Joe Sheldon Shaw into fourth place out of Luke Hopkins and Aaron Clark. So the race of Milo Ward in seventh place, Wood and Louis Valelli and Cameron Lee rounding out that top 10 ahead of Grant Newstead. But really, Ryan Vickers was the guy we expected to run cleanly at the front. His lap time during qualifying was 8/10 off the pace set by Aaron Clifford. But he's certainly reversed that process right now on the first lap of 12 here at Donington Park. So Ryan Vickers starting out on just his third season on tarmac after a very successful motocross and supercross career, already pulling a gap on that blue Yamaha. As I said, it's despite the title, the Motor Technics Yamaha, he's getting backing from Yamaha UK, so very happy with life with that kind of backing. Ryan Vickers, who won the last round of the championship in 2017 to set himself up as a possible favourite for the title this time around. So completing the first lap of 12, Superstock 600, crossing the line. Vickers leads the way from number 55, Kevin Keyes, the Irishman, on the Team 109 Kawasaki. Third place for Joe Sheldon Shaw, fourth place for Aaron Clifford, who set pole position lap. Aaron Clark in fifth place. The man from Coningsby on the Draper Racing Yamaha, teammate to Tommy Philp, who had such a strong ride in the British Supersport category. So Aaron Clark looking to match that kind of result. Vickers leads the way, and second place being well and truly fought over by Keyes, Sheldon Shaw, Clifford, Clark, Ward, all together ahead of Louis Valelli, who's punched his way through to seventh place, Grant Newstead through to eighth. So on the second lap of 12 then, on the launch down towards the Foggy S's, number 21 leads the way. Ryan Vickers looking fairly comfortable. There's the battle involving Clark, Ward and Vallely. Milo Ward looking threatening that beautiful red bike of number 5, Aaron Clark, the Draper Racing Yamaha, holding on but running wide into the... Ooh, good move by number 9, Aaron Clifford. He moves through on the inside of Milo Ward. The two green Kawasaki's neck and neck up the hill. Milo Ward has the inside line. That could be good enough to carry him into Goddard's ahead, and it is. So that hard work down at the hairpin doesn't quite work. That's for Milo Ward. Louis Vallely shadowing those guys on bike number 14 ahead of Grant Newstead. Number 17, Josh Wood from Scunthorpe on the Wood Racing Kawasaki is in 11th place ahead of the number 12 machine of James Nagy from Barton Leclerc, the Steelmate Racing Kawasaki. And then it's Fraser, Sylvester and Wright rounding out that top 15, followed by number 69, Carolan Irwin from Donegal in Northern Ireland on the Irwin Racing Yamaha. Yes, there is another Irwin family, ladies and gentlemen. There's two brothers, one of whom is in this category and one of whom is in another of the junior categories that's packing out the British Superbike paddock and the British Superbike calendar this year. Kevin Keyes, fastest lap, 1:36.04, running in second place. So edging in then. The last lap he had 0.7 of a second deficit over Ryan Vickers. He's trying to close that gap. And this is the battle going on for fourth place, Clark, Ward and Clifford. And at the moment, Aaron Clark looking, sitting well on the Draper Racing Yamaha. And looking, as here it comes. Now, this is what Clifford did last time, but this time he does eat up two places at once. That trick worked then. And that forces Aaron Clark wide and gives Milo Ward the chance to move through as well. So both Kawasaki's chopped through ahead of the Yamaha. We're on the third lap of 12. So crossing the line onto lap 4, Vickers has just set the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.742. So Vickers looks good as we watch Milo Ward move through. So Milo Ward really looking pretty impressive here on bike number 41. Milo Ward, the 20-year-old, formerly raced for MWR Racing Kawasaki. Nicknamed Slugs originally, which seems rather unkind when he was a kind of tubbier young lad. But he's looking strong now as he's through into fourth place, chasing that front three. And Milo Ward actually scored his first podium finish of his career in the Superstock 600 Championship in 2017 with a third place at Alton Park. And that's obviously given him the confidence to challenge at the front in 2018. 11th overall and last time. We've got a faller. The number 14 bike has gone down. And that's a shame. Louis Vallely from Maidstone on the Faro Racing Kawasaki was looking pretty good, running in 7th place ahead of Grant Newstead. But he's fallen, so he won't be catching this top 6 anytime soon. On the fourth lap of 12. Ryan Vickers leading the way by 0.8 of a second. Kevin Keyes in second place. Joe Sheldon Shaw in third. And it's closing up at the front as they cross the line now. 1:35.5. Fastest lap of the race for Kevin Keyes. And he's really making a move now as he edges in on Ryan Vickers. Vickers takes the wide swooping line through Redgate. Leaves that door open a bit for the number 55 machine. So the Irishman Kevin Keyes on the Team 109 Kawasaki closing down on that beautiful blue Yamaha and edging away from number 10 Joe Sheldon Shaw, the Sheffield rider on the Via Motor Racing Kawasaki. So Ryan Vickers leads the way, but only just. How good he is, he's fending off the lead. James Hayden may or may not be able to join me at this moment in time. No, perhaps not. On the 5th lap of 12, as they come storming down underneath the where the old Dunlop Bridge used to be, just on that crest, dropping down to the Foggy S's. Whoa! And getting on the curb, backing his way into the Foggy S's. Ryan Vickers clings onto that advantage. Can someone please get me an up-to-date entry list that's got Aaron Clifford on it, please? Ryan Vickers, Kevin Keyes, Joe Sheldon Shaw, Ward in 4th place, Clifford running in 5th, Clark in 6th, ahead of Newstead, Hopkins, Lee and Wood.
Look at Keyes there, so he's in hot there, and he just takes the lead. So Keyes looked like he was just about to make a move, and here he is.
Kevin Keyes then leads the way. Kevin Keyes now has the advantage as they go into the 6th lap of 12, half distance. What's fascinating about this Superstock 600 series, James, is guys that suddenly emerge having had, shall we say, modest career paths so far, and then suddenly they light up. They perhaps just get that opportunity, a couple of riders or more move on, and suddenly they're running up front.
Yeah, and the other nice thing is, because of the rules, the bikes are more standard. It's not all about the money you're putting into it, so it's a much more level playing field with the top 3 having to move on each season. It does create, the guys behind have an opportunity here, and we've seen some great racing coming from this class. And again, Keyes is under some real pressure there from Vickers, and just behind him, Sheldon Shaw as well. He's waiting, but doing a good job, Keyes. But let's have a little look at number 21, Vickers. He looks like he's building up for a move here, possibly at the Foggy S's.
And as they storm down towards the Foggy S's, this is everybody lining up for possibilities. Joe Sheldon Shaw looking threatening as he just takes a peek underneath Vickers. But the 19-year-old just responds there and closes the door. He's pretty brisk going through the Foggy S's. He doesn't necessarily, at this point, nobody needs to necessarily grab the lead right now if you're confident enough to grab it a bit later, James, and produce a move in the closing laps.
Absolutely, and they're only a half-way distance, as you say, so there's no point in doing anything silly. And we've seen a lot. It is cold out there, it's getting later, so there's no point in doing anything silly. You're at the front, you're counting down those laps and really leaving it for the last few laps battle.
As they storm across the line now then, that's 6 laps complete, half race distance, and Kevin Keyes with a 136.2 against a 136.3 and a 136.1 for Sheldon Shaw. And this is Aaron Clark, still number 5, hanging on to the 2 Kawasaki's. Aaron Clark from Curtin near Boston, the hometown of Ben Wilson, of course, former runner-up in the British Supersport Championship, the Draper Racing Yamaha, the apprentice plumber who finished 21st in the Superstock 600 series back in 2016, got a top 5 finish at the Brands GP circuit. Meanwhile, look at the energy, the right wrist there of number 55 Kevin Keyes, whacking that throttle.
He's a busy old rider, isn't he? You
Yes.
really see what he's up to. Number 21 behind him, Vickers a little bit more subtle on the bike, and that 21 synonymous with obviously Troy Bayliss, who you can watch after this in the Australian Championship.
Isn't that amazing that you should mention Troy Bayliss just as we go through Coppice Corner, where Bayliss had that stupendous crash in 2007 that ultimately may have cost him the World Championship. Remarkable you should mention it at that point. Meanwhile, as they storm downhill into the hairpin, Ryan Vickers looking, pretty relaxed and solid in 2nd place. Hovering behind him, Joe Sheldon Shaw.
Yeah, and obviously, first bike in the picture, number 55, Kawasaki. You got the Yamaha, number 21, and then another Kawasaki. You can see Sheldon Shaw, he was thinking about it, wasn't he? Having a big look there.
We've seen Kawasaki already get the better of Yamaha in the Supersport race, and here we have a Yamaha hunting down a Kawasaki and sandwiched between Kawasaki's. That huge entrance line to Ryan Vickers going into Redgate, but it serves him well. Look at the trajectory he gets going down through Hollywood and Craner curves.
Yeah, this is such a vital part of the track, and one of the most lovely ribbons of tarmac in the world to ride. Fantastic on a motorcycle, and then they sweep down into the old hairpin and then work your way back up. It's a great bit of track.
These Kevin Keyes and Joe Sheldon Shaw, James, were separated by 7 points and finished. I'm sorry, but and a move by Ryan Vickers. So nice move by Ryan Vickers, winner of the final round last year at Brands GP, and therefore holding himself up to 8th place in the championship. He leads the way. Kevin Keys. Oh, we've got a faller coming out of Goddard's. That's probably been a nasty high side. It looks like the way he's trudging off.
Yeah, well,
there's a few bits on the track.
There was. It looked like the bike made it to the inside, but so we couldn't quite see who it was from there. But as you say, it's always a pretty big crash. Easy to do. It's bumpy. It's slow. You're putting down a lot of power, and you often see crashes there.
James, what I was mentioning earlier about the emergence of riders in this class. Last season, Kevin Keys there, number 55, and the man behind him, Joe Sheldon Shaw, finished 14th and 15th in this series with 47 points and 40 points respectively. And now here they are, enmeshed in a battle for the lead. 12 months on, well, 6 months on. It's quite impressive progress, isn't it? How these kids can come on.
Yeah, very much so. And you're getting more and more experience. You know the class. You understand it a bit more. You know what to expect. You probably tested a bit more, and you're growing. So we're thinking that might be number 12, James Nagy. So that looks like.
Do you know? Oh dear me, boys. Well, just take care of yourselves, please. Kevin Keys running second, James. He actually had he had a very, very inconsistencies, but he had 2 top 6 finishes last year, one Knockhill and one at Alton Park. So he obviously did have the pace when he was on his game.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's certainly got it now, and he's put in a really great lap on that. It looked like he just might have shaken Keys, but Keys seems to really responded in the second half of the laps. It's Sheldon Shaw that's just stripping off a fraction, and then here come Walden Clifford, and that battle is still well and truly going strong.
So at the moment, Aaron Clark is just just edging out number 9, Aaron Clifford. Clifford takes a look down the inside as they brake hard. But the big figure there of Milo Ward, hasn't that boy grown? Really gets the power down early as we move back to the leaders, and then this battle for 4th place. Milo Ward still holds it. So we're on the 9th lap of 12 here at Donington Park in this this opening scrap of the season in the National Superstock 600. And Kevin Keys almost throwing himself to the sky as they came out of Goddard's. That's allowed Joe Sheldon Shaw, as they go into the 10th lap, 3/4 race distance, just to close the gap a bit on the man in second place.
Yeah, and with back markers coming up, that's just cost him a bit of time. It showed how hard he was trying to just close that back in. Now watch the second bike in your picture, watch his rear, and he has a big moment there. And again, that's where we saw one of the earlier riders sort of crash out there. And he's just managed to put him, he's number 21 Vickers, he's just managed to put that back marker in the ideal position. But this is the section of the circuit that Keys seems to be so strong. He seems to be able to close it back in. It seems like Vickers stretches on that first bit, and then he can close it right back in here now. But Sheldon Shaw got the probably rough end of the back marker there, number 4, Connor Moody, and that's cost him the most amount of time. I think he's probably, with sort of 2.5 laps to go, he's probably out the fight now, but certainly between Vickers and Keys, it's still very much on. Smart little outfit of that of Vickers out front, the helmet. And spoke too soon, nearly wasn't that smart. But he looks good.
Vickers, of course, one of the he's going to get nabbed as they go into the hairpin. He certainly does. But the Motor Technic Yamaha now in second place, one of the few front runners, if you like, from last year to actually decide to stay in this category with the express intention of winning the championship before he moves on. It is, after all, only his 3rd season on tarmac after racing off-road as a lad.
Yeah, well,
in fact, he remembers me interviewing him after he'd won a Supercross final way back in the day, during the glorious days of the British Supercross Championship, when we used to have racing for kids as well as adults.
Well, you are the Mr. Motocross as well, Jack. There's very little you don't know about motocross. You can see Keys, he's having a good look, but no.
Yeah, because he's and there are more back markers going to come into play here. This could get intriguing again. So Kevin Keys leads the way. 10 laps complete. He had 0.2 of a second across the line. He still has got about that advantage.
And you imagine Keys being pretty ruthless with these guys, and that's exactly what you need. You can really use them to your advantage. He's probably just going to catch him a little bit more on Coppice, but then he's not. Yes, he is. He's just going to be stuck behind him for a fraction. It's going to give Vickers a chance. He's having a look around the outside. They're both going to cut to the inside, are they? Well, I think you might find Vickers goes the other way. Yes, he does.
Yes.
Up the inside. but they're both through. And again, Sheldon Shaw's just going to be catching him at the wrong spot. It is between these two now.
So Connor Wheeler, that was from Hatfield on the Connor Wheeler Racing Yamaha, who got bundled aside by the front three, and there's still another back marker ahead of them. We're on the 11th lap of 12, so it's going to be all down to the final lap. Once again, we've been having these final lap dust-ups throughout the day, really, here at Donington Park. It's been an exciting look at the elbow and wrist action on the throttle of that man Kevin Keys. You can see everything that he's doing with that bike.
Yeah, and then once again, look at that. They're coming up on number 17. That is Josh Wood. And definitely Keys is going to get past. His Vickers going to get held up. He needs a nice... No, he doesn't. He's got such a wide line into there, hasn't he? And this is the last lap, so there's going to be...
When he's used it to dive underneath him. Is he going to make a mistake? Yes. He sits him up going through Hollywood. What a brilliant, ruthless move by Ryan Vickers. And that means that he tears down Craner Curve. Now he'll have that wide entrance into the hairpin. But Keys isn't... just quite close enough to suck himself through. So Ryan Vickers then leads the way, but you know these great wide swoops that the ex-motocrosser takes just might open the door for Kevin Keys.
Yeah, no, he's really, really good into there. His Vickers. So Vickers has had a good move. And again, number 14, another back marker coming up shortly. That's
Ewan
Louis
Potter.
Yeah, okay. And but he's I tell you what, he's put in a beautiful few corners there, and he's given himself just a whisker of breathing space, and that could be critical because with just 3 corners left, it might just be enough. But oh no, Vickers. I mean, with Keys rather, he's closed back in a little bit again now, but no.
That gap opens up once again. He was fast through the foggy S's, and what he has to, and he's got to surely get inside the number 44
bike. Going to be close there.
And he does just dip inside there. That's worked for him, and Ryan Vickers has pulled the pin at just the right moment to get the better of Kevin Keys, and it could be back-to-back wins then for the young man from Thetford. He has won the final round of 2017 at Brands Hatch GP. He wins the first round of 2018 at Donington Park. A delighted Ryan Vickers. Kevin Keys a fine second, third place. And what a dust-up going on behind them. And that was Aaron Clark, I think, who just got Aaron Clifford got the better of Milo Ward as they crossed the line in the battle of the Kawasaki's. And these two lads thrilled with that. One thrilled to win and the other one thrilled to get his first podium finish. Joe Sheldon Shaw also gets his first podium finish in Superstock 600 racing. So a fine list of achievements from the podium finishers here.
And what a great place to make that pass stick. The top of Hollywood up the inside. Yeah, that was a really brave and great effort, and a good race win there for Vickers.
And that last lap, 135.517, was Ryan Vickers' fastest lap of his race, James. It was just 2/10 of the fastest lap set by Kevin Keys, but that was quite a spectacular effort from the young man from Thetford. Perfect then, absolutely perfect. Ryan Vickers starts off 2018 as he finished 2017. Actually got his first podium finish when he had a third place at Silverstone last year, and that was the start of that splendid finish to the year for Ryan Vickers. Third place at Silverstone, DNF at Alton Park, and then that race win at Brands Hatch. And he's won again here at Donington Park, the perfect start to the 2018 campaign. The 2018 Pirelli National Superstock 600 Championship in association with Black Horse. Ryan Vickers victorious for the Motor Technics Yamaha team ahead of Kevin Keys Kawasaki and Joe Sheldon Shaw. More Kawasaki's. Aaron Clifford and Milo Ward had a terrific race-long dust-up for fourth place. Clifford from pole position eventually wins out. Aaron Clark in sixth place for the Draper Racing Yamaha team ahead of Grant Newstead, Luke Hopkins, Josh Wood and Carolan Irwin. If anyone down in Southern Ireland or Donegal would like to tell me how to pronounce that lad's first name, I'll gladly listen. Cameron Lee in 11th place, Aaron Sylvester 12th ahead of Mark Clayton, Matty Whelan, and the final point goes to Aaron Wright.